One of the next new features in version 3 of SpecView is a complete redesign of trend charts from the ground up. Let's just draw one on here. Let's just cancel that. Straight away you can see a kind of 3D look to it, different colours, scales, what have you. Let's go back into the trend chart setup. Let's just bung a few pens on. Here's the configuration I had earlier. I'm just going to add a pen from there and a pen from there, and that's all you need to do. If you don't define otherwise, it has an automatic scale. These fonts can be changed very easily. We'll come on to that in a minute. This one I've got control of a thermocouple, so if I make it spike up a bit, you will see that it rescales itself now from 21 to 30 something. But sometimes that's not particularly useful, so let's go and set up some scales so we know what we're doing. So on this pen we'll set up fixed scales from 20 to 35. Let's just turn a few of these other things on, which I'll come to in a minute. We can change the thickness of the line and the number of decimal places, and we can change descriptions and things like that. And let's do the same to this pen. Let's have that one going from 0 to 1800. That one's in Fahrenheit. Okay, so things have rescaled. Remember, this is edit mode, so I'm still in edit mode. I can still move my chart around while I'm configuring it and play around with scales and stuff without having to keep switching into runtime and stuff like that. Let's just try that spike again. There's no horizontal grid lines, but we can easily add that. If we edit the pen again, we've got control of the major and minor divisions, and we can show them on the page with a variety of, let's do major divisions like that, minor divisions like that. Okay, I can apply them straight away. You can see straight away those divisions like that. As you can see, back in the pen setup there's lots of options. You can have fixed grid lines, you can have automatic scaling, you can have other variables that scale, you can have logarithmic scale for the pressure people amongst you. In terms of the lines, you can have plain lines, min and max lines, tolerance bands, all manner of stuff. The trend chart as a whole can be set up in a whole variety of fashions. We've got control over the colours, we've got control over the scales, so let's put some scales, two scales on one side and not on the other. If we apply that, you can see the scales have appeared straight away over there. That red pen doesn't seem to have value pointers. It now does, makes it a little bit easier to see what's going on there. The time axis can be automatic, or you can manually define what's going on, and again you've got control over the major and minor styles of that. In terms of values, you can have a whole bunch of things at the top of the screen, so things like units and descriptions and stuff. As you can see, it uses a lot of screen real estate, but if that matters to you, then that's good. Let's just turn those off, make that font a little smaller so we get more space. There we go. Now, another big feature of version 3 trend charts is chart notes. These enable you to annotate the chart in a variety of ways. Let's just click on the chart and add a note. This was a spike. You can choose its colour, and there it's assigned itself to where the value of the pen was. So if the pen gets rescaled, it will always be associated with the pen. You can hover over a note to see what have a little pop-up caption, or you can click on the note and arrange it anywhere on the screen you like. That's a manually added chart note. You can also do automatic chart notes. For example, if I use a little piece of strategy, I've got a Boolean user variable here called spike, if I use a little piece of strategy to say if spike is greater than no, not spike at all. If the input is greater than 25, then turn on spike. So download specific value spike. Did I miss that? Spike on. Like that. So the spike boolean will turn on when the input goes above 25. Now in the trend charts I can go to chart notes and add an automatic chart note, and we'll take spike, we'll trigger on true or 1 only as long as it exists for more than 2 seconds, and we'll reset it afterwards. We will have the automatic chart note say spike, I can't type, spike detected, and I'm going to associate it with the input. Okay. Oh, one other thing. Let's just go back in there and we'll add the time since the last spike. Okay. Okay. So now, if I grab hold of the thermocouple and create a spike, as soon as it goes above 25 and strategy controller notices, you can see the chart note has automatically been created. If I let go, and it'll go down, you'll notice the boolean has already been turned off by the automatic chart note. If I make another spike, it gets noticed again, and the second one has an elapsed time there, you can see, of 17 seconds since the last spike. And again, these can be moved up here and played around with. Now, in addition to the normal right to left chart, you can also have vertical charts like that, a bit more like a recorder, the paper scrolling down the page. But for now I'm going to keep it set to the normal horizontal chart. Along the bottom here you can see a little scroll bar. This enables us to go into scroll back, so we can scroll back to stuff that's gone off the screen. There's up to 10 screen pages worth of scroll back, and that works independently of historical replay. Now, for one of the other features of trend charts, if I just go into runtime mode by saving and going into runtime, you'll notice that the chart appears full, but not only full for what you can see, it's also done a historical replay of the scroll back, so you can see past activity, so trend charts are not empty on startup anymore. These chart notes, let's just do another spike just to make it all happen. There's another spike, 2 minutes 8 seconds since the last one. You can collapse the notes back down again, you can show the date and turn off various assorted things, you can edit them, and so on. Another feature of the traces on trend charts are that you can assign flashing and colour change on alarm. In the previous video we set up this boolean called over 25 to be on when input 4 is over 25 and off when it's below. So on this pen I can edit the pen, I can drag over 25 into there, turn on blink on alarm, turn on colour change. I'm going to use this bright red colour. Now when I move the thermocouple up and it goes above 25, not only do we get a spike auto chart note, but also the trace starts flashing and has changed colour. And then when I let go, the value goes below 25 and the strategy turns the boolean off. It's heated up a bit much. Almost there. There we go. And it returns to the normal colour. That makes it quite handy for pointing out things that are particularly bad. There's lots and lots of setup options on the trend chart. Colours, durations. We've got zooming. We can store values at a higher rate than needed so that we can zoom in. Let's have a look at that in action. So if I go into runtime, because we can't zoom in edit mode, so save, go into runtime. There's our chart. If I want to zoom in on that area, I can. It's much bigger. Let's go zoom back out again. Let's change the time span of this chart to be a bit longer. It was me playing with flashing things before I started the video. This looks interesting up here. Let's zoom in on that bit there and see what we can see. That looks pretty good. And we can zoom back out again. If a trace starts to approach the top, you can zoom out 20% on the scales or zoom out 20% on the time and things like that. It just means you can see the stuff a bit more easily. Using the zoom in capability with the extra data, you don't tend to lose too much resolution. What else have we got? Scales. As you can see, we can have scales on one or both sides. There's an elapsed time axis as well, so let's turn that on. So that started at 0, it's been running for 18 minutes. We can reset the elapsed time at any point, so let's reset the elapsed time here, reset there. So that's where the 0 point is, and that's history, negative time, and forward here. That's useful if you want to know the run time of a process so that you don't have to click on the chart and use the cursors to find out what the length of a particular run is. What else have we got? You can change the major and minor divisions, time axis. You've got the cursors, as we said before, chart notes, values. You can start the charts on the left or the right. You've got batch tags that allow you to clear the chart on a batch start, so you haven't got any of the old data. Default pen colours. As you add pens, they just assume these default colours. We've got date, time, and help and setup buttons and date format stuff in there. And you can save all the settings that you apply in a chart so that it's the default for new charts, so you can get a consistent look of charts all the way through your application just by using the same ones. We also have, in addition to the smooth scrolling that you've seen in this demo, we've got the jump scrolling like the old version 2.5 charts, and we've also got no scrolling. What that means is that the trace starts from the left hand side, and when it reaches the right hand side, all that happens is the timescale adjusts so you can see the whole trace all the time. Again, that's useful for batch processes where you want a trend chart that just covers from the batch start to the end and you're not interested in what happened before the batch. So rescale time to fit is very handy on that one. So that's a quick run through of trend charts. The next video will be on position dynamics. See you in a minute.